so we know where we're at on our VDOT chart. We're thinking we could improve our marathon. I've not met many people who flatline across this in their first 2 or 3 years of running. So this next chart is really interesting. Now, this comes from Strava. Strava aggregates the runs done by thousands and thousands of marathon runners. So the orange bars are male and the black bars are female, and it breaks it down into, it goes and looks at people who ran a sub 3 hour marathon. They were typically running 50 miles a week. Some people a lot more, some people a bit less, but the average across thousands of runners, if they achieved a sub 3, they were running 50 miles a week on average. People running between 3 hours and 4 hours were in the 30 to 40 bracket. People completing their marathon race between 4 hours and 5 hours, they were putting out 20 to 30 miles a week. And over 5 hours, these were people training typically between 10 and 20 miles a week. So the marathon rewards the amount of work you put into it. If you want to get running good at running a long way, you need to run a long way. You need to do that a lot. This is not complicated. Obviously, within that, there is recovery, there's nutrition, there's strength work, there's making sure you don't get injured, there's making sure you find, you can't just go out and do all this running at one intensity. You need to have different intensities. You need to work through the different gears. There's a lot of complexity, but the very first thing that we need to swallow here is to get good at running a long way. We need to do a lot of running a long way. And you could carry this graph on. There's a lot less data on Strava, but if you wanted to look at the people running 2:30 marathons, you'd see them doing 70, 80 miles a week or more. And this depends on age and this depends on experience. Your body has got to be able to handle this level of training. You can't just go out and start hitting 50-mile weeks if all you've been doing is 10 miles a week. So some people will build up to this over years. In my own progression, as I was hitting 4-hour marathons, I was probably running 30 miles a week and just about managing not to get injured. We've all got to find out what our training threshold is. How much training can we do and make sure that we stay well? We're not denting our immune system so that we get ill. We don't want to get injured because we're putting in too much repetitive training load on tired muscles, making sure that, because if you increase the mileage, your body will show you any imbalances you've got. In my particular case, several years ago, I started getting plantar fasciitis in my right foot. If you've had it, you'll know what I mean. It's a right pain in the foot. I've had problems with my right ITB. Finally got to see a physio who wasn't just treating the symptoms I was going in with, and they said to me, look, there's two things that are causing you to have minor niggles on the right hand side. One is you've got weak core and glutes, and two is you're consistently going for a run when your muscles are weak, and when your quads and when your glutes are getting tired. That's when the other smaller muscles are getting recruited into your running action and being asked to do things that they're not designed to do. And that's why we're seeing all these injuries on the right-hand side. So as well as treating the injury, I was given a great program of strength and conditioning work where I was isolating each side. I was working one side independently of the other so that over many months, I could try and bring up those strength levels. And this is all part of the work you might need to do to make sure that you've got a balance and you've got good core strength and you can run efficiently, but also that you can run evenly so that when you do start increasing your training mileage, you're not going to get injured and you're not going to get those niggles that are going to mean you need to take a week off or reduce your training for 3 or 4 weeks, because that is when you fall out of this group that are consistently knocking out 40, 50 miles a week, and you fall back into this group who on average are hitting 30, and guess what? That sub-3 dream might not happen. So marathon running demands that we look at all of the different components that build up a running week. That's it on mileage.